Welcome to GTC's Teaching Tidbits Blackboard Ultra. In this limited series, each episode we will explore a technique, tip, practice, or idea to expand your knowledge of and comfort with using Blackboard Ultra. I'm joined by Lee McMinn from the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center, CISC for short. Good morning, Lee.
Hey, good morning, Rachel.
Glad to have you back. You've become a staple in this particular series. So
yeah, it's good to be back and share things with everybody.
Yeah, well, and I know that our faculty are incredibly appreciative of getting these update videos and seeing what they are. So we got a preview in the last episode about what was coming for March, and it looked like some exciting things again were headed our way. So Lee is going to dive into what updates we did get for March 2023 in this episode. So Lee, I'm just going to turn it over to you to share your teaching tidbits.
All right, thanks, Rachel. These are our updates for March. We've got several good things that came in this month. Unfortunately, there's one thing that doesn't seem to have come through. I've got feelers out to the folks I know at Blackboard trying to figure out what's going on with that. And I'll tell you what that is in just a minute, but let's look at what did come through. The updates from March are pretty straightforward and pretty easy. The first is a sorting on the overall grade in the gradebook on the student view. That's like when you go to the gradebook, you click on students at the top and it shows a list of all your students, and you can see the dates they last accessed, and you can see their overall grade. Well, what they've turned on there is the ability to sort by the overall grade. So you can group all your A's together, all your B's together. You can sort in ascending or descending order by their overall grade. So that's a real quick view to see who all your A's are, D's are, so forth. Another thing that's not quite as important right now, it will be more when we get to the next semester when you start making your course copies. And that's what Blackboard has been doing in the past is if you had a folder that was empty, that had no content in it, it wouldn't copy those empty folders over. Now it does copy over those empty folders because you may have a note on there for instructors to put certain information that is not necessarily good to be in the master or whatnot. So there is a need to have those empty folders copy over. So that has been brought over. The other thing is the schedule announcements. I'm going to stop sharing real quick and jump back over to my screen. First, here's the gradebook I was telling you about. Doesn't have a whole lot of students. This is just one of my demo courses, but you can see you can sort by every column now, and I'm in the student view. Normally you come into gradable items. If you jump over to student view, notice the overall grade has the up and down arrows, and you can sort ascending or descending and group those grades together, like we mentioned a few minutes ago. So that's one big thing. All right. So if you schedule an announcement for the future, you can see this announcement I have is scheduled, and it's not going to become available until tomorrow, the 8th. Well, in the past, rescheduling that was difficult to do, or you want that pop-up to come up again. So what you can do is click on the more options. That's these three horizontal dots, and you can choose to edit that. And now you can come down and you can change the show on. So if I want to change it to today's date so that it will pop up for the students, I can do that. So now it will automatically post it, and as students come in, they'll see a new pop-up because a new announcement is there. We found that a lot of students, if they don't see that pop-up for the announcements, they don't go and check the announcements area themselves. So by being able to reschedule these or reload these, that pop-up can come up and remind the students that there is a new announcement there for them. All right, the next item is discussions. and you're able to deactivate post activity. And what that means, what we're looking at here is a discussion forum in one of my courses. And when we go to edit the settings, now this is only available for graded discussions, but when you set a discussion to be gradable, you'll see a due date down below, and there's a new option below that due date. It says stop activity after the due date. All right, that means students cannot reply or edit any post that they've made to the discussion board. Now they can still read them. They can still go into that discussion area and look at the posts that were done previously. But what this is doing is at the due date and time, it's basically closing the discussion board from any more posts or editing. Now, what we did get back in February was this prevent editing checkbox. If you have this checked off and you have the stop discussion board activity, well, it says discussion board activity can't be edited after the due date. Well, if you check this prevent editing, that prevents students from editing their post anytime. And anytime after they've posted it, they're done. They cannot edit it anymore. What we've seen is several instructors turn on the post first in the discussion board. And so so that means they have to post their thoughts or their comments on that topic before they can read anyone else's. Well, what students have done is they've gone in and put in just a space or just a period, so they can then go in and read the other post, and then they come back and edit their initial post that was next to worthless, basically. And there's been some incidences of students copying other students' posts or pulling their thoughts out of theirs and not really giving their own views on that. So by checking the prevent editing, that's at any time, and then stopping the discussion activity after the due date, you can really lock down those discussion posts, right? And the last thing that we have, or what was supposed to come up, is the multiple attempts. And unfortunately, this is not here yet. All right, so we were talking about the multi-attempt view, and what the multi-attempt view lets you do is it's an update to the gradebook. And this has to do with students that have multiple attempts on a particular assignment. It may only be one student that has multiple attempts, or it could be several. But the way that you access that and the way that you can access the different attempts has changed, much improved. So if you come to the gradebook, we're first going to look at it from the gradable items list. These are all the items that you have graded. And I know that on this particular assignment, this reflective assignment 1, that I have a student that has multiple attempts. So I click on that item to see all the students that may or may not have submitted. And I can see here that Wilma Flintstone has 2 attempts. So what we would normally do to grade it is we would click on the student and we would see a right panel that would pop up. That right panel is gone in this view. What we have now is in the top left-hand corner, we have the attempt selection. Now, when you click on the student, it's going to bring up the latest attempt, the most recent attempt. If I wanted to grade both of them, I could switch to attempt 1 and go over and see that this attempt has already been graded. I'll talk about the difference in the scores right here in just a minute. If I want to switch to the second attempt, now notice I could still navigate over to the next student if I wanted to, but I want to grade this student's second attempt so I can make a switch. And you can see the grade for this attempt. Now, so what we're looking at here is this grade right here, kind of to the center, if you will, is the grade for that particular attempt. The grade on the far right, where it says final grade, is the grade of the attempt that you have selected to be the final. So for example, when you create the assignment, you select, do you want it to be the first attempt, the highest grade, the latest attempt grade, whatever that is, that's going to be your final score. All right. when you click the drop down, if you've already graded an attempt, the attempts that you are not looking at will show the grade beside them. So if you, in this case, we have 2 attempts, the second attempt is not showing a grade here in the drop down because I'm looking at that second attempt right now. Now notice when we close this view, again, there's no more right panel. So that's been eliminated. Now let's take a step back to the full gradebook. Some of you may go through the student view. This is where things will be a little bit different, and it kind of threw me at first when I was looking at it. So if you come to the student view, and I know that this particular student had multiple attempts, I'm going to select that student, and it's going to come up and show me all of the gradable items that's available to this student. This is the one that they have attempts on. So when I click on this item, notice I do have the right side panel here. You can see that both are graded. If I choose the first attempt, it's going in just like you would expect, but now we still have, you can switch from one attempt to the other. We're back at the screen we've just been looking at. Everything is the same here. Now, we do not have the navigation to other students because we're focusing just on this one student. That's why we don't have the navigation to other students for this particular assignment. When we close this out from the student view, again, the right panel does not pop back up. So we're only seeing that right panel when we first go into it from the student view. We will never see the right panel if we do it from the gradable items view. Now, the next question I know people are going to ask is, well, what about the grid view, Lee? Because I use the grid view. I don't like any other view. Well, guess what? We're going to see that right side panel in the grid view. For example, I know it was this assignment. I can click on it. I can choose view. And notice the right panel comes up. This is telling me that they had multiple attempts. I click on either attempt and we're back at the screen I was just showing you. Again, we can navigate to other students because of the view we started from. We started from the grid view, which is on a particular assignment, so we can go to all students. But again, you can switch from view to view, or excuse me, attempt to attempt with the drop-down panel at the top left. When I close this and go back to the grid view, again, no more right panel when I'm exiting the grading scheme. So this is going to really improve the gradebook view when we're grading students with multiple attempts. I think it's going to be very useful for most of us, and that's what we have so far with this update.
Oh, thank you so much, Lee, for sharing all of the little things that have come with this update. I think the thing most people are going to be really excited about, because it's what I'm most excited about, is this multiple attempts view, and just the fact that that right panel is going away for the most part. That's going to really change things in terms of speed of grading and being able to look at things kind of all together. So glad that that update is here, and can't wait to start testing it out as well. So thank you for sharing those tidbits with us today. And I know that if you'd like to continue the conversation with Lee, if you have questions for Lee, you are welcome to reach out to him. His email's here on the screen, lee.mcminn@gvltec.edu. Of course, any member of the team over there in Curriculum and Instructional Support Center will be happy to help with your Blackboard questions, concerns, needs. So you can reach out to the department email, CISC@my.gvltec.edu, and one of the members of their team over there will connect with you and work with you on whatever your question, need, or concern is. So that is our episode of Ultra Updates for this month, and we will see you back here next month in April for another updates episode of GTC Teaching Tidbits Blackboard Ultra.